In 1952, he was appointed a member of the Presidium of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union. On March 15, 1953, he was appointed the chairman of the Presidium of the Supreme Soviet with Nikita Khrushchev as first secretary of the Communist Party and Georgy Malenkov as premier of the USSR. He initially argued that the Polish army officers captured in the Soviet invasion of Poland in September 1939 should be released, but he later signed the order for their execution in the Katyn Forest massacre in March 1940. He joined the Bolshevik faction of the Russian Social Democratic Labour Party in 1903. Following the Russian Revolution in 1917, Voroshilov became a member of the Ukrainian Council of People's Commissars and Commissar for Internal Affairs. After Nikita Khrushchev was removed from power, his successor Leonid Brezhnev brought Voroshilov out of retirement and into a figurehead political post. He was re-elected to the Central Committee in 1966, and was then awarded a second Hero of the Soviet Union medal in 1968. During World War II, he failed to prevent the Germans from surrounding Leningrad and was dismissed from his post and replaced by Georgy Zhukov on September 8, 1941. Luckily for Voroshilov, Stalin had a political need for popular wartime leaders, and so Voroshilov remained as an important figurehead. He served as a member of the party Central Committee from his election in 1921 until 1961. After the death of Mikhail Frunze in 1925, he was appointed People's Commissar for Military and Navy Affairs and chairman of the Revolutionary Military Council of the USSR, a post he held until 1934. From 1945 to 1947, he supervised the establishment of a socialist republic in post-war Hungary. He blamed the poor performance of the Hungarian Communist Party in the Budapest municipal elections in October 1945 on minorities in leadership positions, saying it was detrimental to the party that its leaders are not of Hungarian origin. He played a central role in Stalin's Great Purge in the 1930s, denouncing many of his own colleagues and subordinates. He personally wrote letters to exiled former Soviet officers and diplomats such as Commissar Mikhail Ostrovsky, asking them to voluntarily return to the USSR and falsely reassuring them that they would not face retribution from the Soviet authorities. His wife, Ekaterina Voroshilova, was a Ukrainian Jew from Mar'arivka. She changed her name when she converted to Orthodox Christianity in order to marry Voroshilov. They met while both exiled in Arkhangelsk, where Ekaterina was sent in 1906. In 1918, they adopted a 4-year-old orphan boy who they named Petya. They also adopted the children of Mikhail Frunze following his death in 1925. After Khrushchev removed Stalinists like Vyacheslav Molotov and Georgy Malenkov from the party, Voroshilov's career began to fade. On May 7, 1960, the Supreme Soviet of the Soviet Union approved his request for retirement and elected Leonid Brezhnev chairman of the Presidium of the Supreme Council. The Central Committee also relieved him of duties as a member of the party Presidium on July 16, 1960. In October 1961, he was excluded from election to the Central Committee at the 22nd Party Congress. Despite taking part in purges of mechanizers from the Red Army, Voroshilov became convinced that reliance on cavalry should be decreased while more modern arms should receive higher priority. In 1936, he praised the Red Army's combined arms warfare capabilities, and officers' ability to take initiative. He also pointed out issues in the Red Army as a whole in his full report. Among their issues he pointed out were insufficient communication, ineffective staff, insufficient cooperation between arms and the rudimentary nature of the command structure in tank units and other modern arms. Voroshilov commanded Soviet troops during the Winter War, but due to poor Soviet planning and his incompetence, the Red Army suffered 320,000 casualties compared to the Finnish Army's 70,000 casualties. At a meeting in Stalin's dacha at Kuntsevo, Stalin blamed Voroshilov for the losses, to which Voroshilov then lost his temper and blamed the failures on Stalin for executing the Red Army's best generals in purges, and then smashed a platter of roast pig on the table. Despite this outburst, he was still made a scapegoat for the initial failures in Finland. He was later replaced as defense commissar by Semyon Timoshenko.